powerful seekers. This is Camara with the Black Dove Oracle. I want to thank you for joining me here on this podcast where we are going to dive a little bit into this upcoming Mercury in Retrograde. That will be happening in Capricorn, kind of moving at its tail end, going direct into Sagittarius. And the dates for this Mercury in Retrograde, the very last one of 2023, will be December 13th through January 1st of 2024. So it's a shorter Mercury in Retrograde, but it does not indicate that it will be less powerful. So let's kind of backtrack a little bit. There's going to be a new moon in Sagittarius on December 12th. And that new moon is the setup, right? Because Sagittarius is this action, right? It's this fire sign. And everything about Sagittarius is about expansiveness, spontaneity, big ideas, interest in broad topics, such as politics or economics, education, public communications, media. So when we get into Sagittarius kind of energy on this new moon, there's something that the new moon is dark, right? There's something bubbling underneath our unconscious that really wants to be released soon. Sagittarius is also ruled by Jupiter. It sits in that ninth house, and it's the archer, right? It's pointing its fiery arrow and wanting action here. So we have that new moon that's starting, and in many ways it's perfect because that new moon has some hidden aspects to it. There's something underneath that is going to be coming forward. And right then 24 hours later, that December 13th, even though there's been a pre-shadow period, right? Meaning the effects of Mercury retrograde have probably already being felt. Quick example, there's people who will get in contact with you that you haven't heard from in a while. And this morning I got a random call from the building manager of some place that I lived two apartments ago. Just random. And I answer the phone because I'm like, what is this about? Curious. And the building manager was like, it looks like you got a handwritten card, for the holidays. And I was just like, oh, and, he was like, oh, it's from this place. And I was just like, I don't even know anyone currently that lives in that place. And it was just so funny because he was like, well, I just thought you might want to come pick it up. And then I had to tell him, oh, I don't live in the area anymore. And it was just the strangest short conversation. And when we hung up, I said, Mercury retrograde right there. So examples like this, and probably even more quirky, people who are just kind of blast from the past, you're like, how's this person even still have my phone number? That kind of contact is probably going to be happening again. So this Mercury retrograde, that December 13th, it's going to be in Capricorn, mostly that energy. And if you know anything about Capricorn, it's ruled by Saturn. It sits in the 10th house. It's an earth energy. And that kind of earth energy, especially when you think about Saturn, it's more strategic. It's more mature. It's a little detached. It can be formal. It can be business-like. Good planning, good organizing, a huge focus on money, responsibility, also like a flavor of seriousness when it comes to those things, especially status and power. So the Mercury in retrograde is sitting in that energy. Mercury being about that communication. And what is coming up, perhaps, for the collective is the whole idea that we can revisit those things that we feel like we don't have control over. Maybe there's even a sense of, you know what, I'm not going to worry about the things I don't have control over. Because Capricorn very much seeks control. But this Mercury in retrograde is going to have you go back and look at the places where you're frustrated. Look at the places where you feel a little pessimistic. Look at the places that you even feel alone. And I think that if you use this energy in a healthy way, you're going to be able to say, you know what, I can't control that person. I can't control that condition. I don't want to spend my life stuck here. I want to move forward. And just this little period of time is where we're going to find the most movement when Mercury finally goes direct in Sagittarius. Because Sagittarius is really quite literally going to be like, okay, we're ready to go direct. I'm ready to be honest about all the places in where I was previously feeling held up. I want to express my restlessness. I'm tired of talking about things. I want to move on things. And there's going to be an outspoken quality to this Mercury in retrograde when it finally goes direct. It was just like a short period of time for someone to get clear on the actual issues, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in their career, or any other type of situation. You're going to find that that little Mercury in retrograde period gave someone the clarity. They went back. They looked very seriously in that Capricorn energy at what they were experiencing. They kind of tally the numbers in some cases, right? They look at the facts. And when Mercury goes direct, bam, there's the communication. Bam, there is the change. And if you aren't paying attention, when Mercury goes direct, it's going to seem like everyone is impulsive. It's going to seem as, where did this come from? And for some of you, this is going to be a time of literal movement. You're going to be like, I'm moving, I'm out of here. That could be moving out of a job, moving out of a career sector. It could be quite literally moving out of your house. So this time, like I said, it could catch some people off guard. But the reality is the collective has been thinking about this, going over the numbers, going over the facts, formalizing the strategy, coming up with a plan, because that's Capricorn, right? And deciding, because Capricorn also, when you look at the correspondence to the body, Capricorn rules the knees. And it's kind of funny because Spirit is pointing out to me right now that for many of you who are going to make some real decisive moves, who are going to transition some areas of your life, it's going to feel as if you're no longer living on your knees. It's going to feel like, no, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to address these issues on my feet. So if that makes sense to you, that's the energy. So when Sagittarius rolls around, that energy completes the circle for the new year. And the new year will bring many announcements. Just watch and wait, from the individual level, from the familial level, from the community level to the global level. Spirit is telling me globally, we may be surprised by some decisions. It's going to feel like, oh, that happened overnight. And really, it didn't. Behind closed doors, there was a lot of planning that was taking place. Same with workplaces. January 1st comes and some people will find out if they still have a job, right? Some people will find out that there's expansion in their job. Other people are going to find out that they may have a new member of the family on the way. This is one of those times where pregnancies get announced, marriages, what do we want to say, engagements gets announced. This is a time where divorces get announced. This is a time where businesses close, businesses launch. So we are going to see a lot of new beginnings happening when this Mercury finally goes direct. But understand, many things were taking place behind the curtain, behind the scenes, back of house. So in many ways, you may feel surprised, but don't think that these were spontaneous or impulsive decisions. Rarely will that be the case. And the full moon will happen on December 26th, somewhere in between that whole Mercury in retrograde. That's going to be in Cancer. I think what that energy is going to do is bring some emotional closure to any of the issues that are being worked on during the retrograde. Retrogrades, they have a bad reputation for people saying, don't sign any contracts during this time. Don't start anything new. But the reality of Mercury in retrograde is, if you had already been in the process of working on something, whether it was a project or thinking about finalizing a decision on something, that happened way before the retrograde is probably the perfect time to finalize those decisions, to sign that contract, because you had already been in the motion of doing it, but you hadn't finalized it because you were still deciding on things. So you can use that retrograde energy to finalize something. So it's not a rigid time like this. You have to, on a case-by-case basis, decide, is this the perfect use of this energy, cosmically, astrologically? So Cancer in that full moon, it's going to illuminate everyone's feelings, and it's going to give that Capricorn energy a place to really chart out, okay, this is going to be the impact. Okay, this is how the plan's going to go. So, very interesting time. Spirit's also saying, if you want some clues to the roots of some changes that might be taking place as a result of this Mercury in retrograde, you may want to backtrack to December 29th, 2022. That was the shadow of the Mercury in retrograde that was going to happen the following year, 2023, January. So there's something in that time period, that shadowy time period of 2022, late December, that's going to give you the roots of something that's happening now, something that you are going to bring full circle with this Mercury in retrograde. So let me know below in the comments if any of this resonates with you. What we are going to do is move to the sign readings, the astrological sign readings, and know that you don't need to only listen to your sun. You can listen to your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, your Venus, and of course your Mercury sign. So there's plenty of signs to listen to and maybe get a more holistic view of what this Mercury in retrograde might be doing for you energetically. So that's going to happen right after this. And what I want to say, seekers, is that this is not a time to be afraid. Like, this is a time to feel empowered, to know what your power is in having that information, to create a strategy, can create a plan. If you've never done that before, now would be that time. So before we embarked on the journey of all the different signs and their specific readings, I would really love to invite you to subscribe to the Black Dove Oracle channel. Join my mystical family and receive the spirit realm's timely messages and grow this cosmic community. Hit the bell icon too, so that you never miss the unveiling of a new reading, any of the podcasts that I will be recording. And if you want to know how to support this channel, all the information that you need will be in that description box below. Please know that I would never reach out to you directly for any readings or solicit you on other apps and platforms or in the comments of any of these readings or videos. So with that, let's go to all of the signs and do those individual readings. Thank you so much, my seekers, and I will talk with you soon. Hello, Aries. This is your reading for the Mercury in retrograde that's happening December 13th through January 1st of 2024. Aries, my small amount of research said that this Mercury in retrograde is going to be hitting your 10th house, which is the house of your career. And it's going to probably be important at this time, and you're going to feel it internally that you need to slow down and think about a career move a little bit more carefully during this time. You may even feel that slowness causing some discomfort, like why don't I know what to do? Or why am I slowing down like this? Is something wrong with the decision I made? And I'm getting from Spirit that it is not a time to doubt yourself, in as much as it might be prudent to slow down your process. When I pulled your tarot cards, I have 3 in front of me that are face down, but I want to start with the bottom of the deck. The bottom of the deck is 7 of water, which is 7 of cups. And what the imagery is on this card is a watering hole, but there's like several outlets from this large body of water that are turning into streams, right, or rivers. And traditionally, 7 of cups, it's really about the many options. But sometimes it can allude to feeling confused about all of the options, that there might be too many options. So let's turn over your tarot cards. So, Aries, this is a time of initiation for you. If you listen to the intro of this collective reading for Mercury in retrograde, I think you're going to understand this. That in this initiatory stage, there's a lot to take into consideration, but there's also a lot that you need to just kind of trust and leave up to Spirit. You have a lot of 2s here. You have a 2 of initiation, and you have a 2 of earth. 2 of earth is even speaking to the idea of allowing yourself to hibernate. You know, when a bear hibernates, the cave in which they're taking this on, it's It's warm, it cares for their needs, it's been prepared. And I think instinctively, what I'm hearing from Spirit is that you have prepared your den. It's going to serve you during these cold winter months. And this initiation is preparing you. And it's funny because the very last card is the goddess of fire. So it is this period of time, this Mercury in retrograde, that is giving you the slowdown, because when you emerge from your den, when you emerge with the final decision or clarity on that decision, you will suddenly be in your goddess of fire energy, Aries. And the goddess of fire, let me just find that really quick, because there may be something in here that you need to hear. It says that, who is your grandmother in life? An older woman? Or is it you, or a part of you? Respect and attend to her wisdom and the power of all that she's learned, how life challenges and changes you, what matters and what doesn't matter, how to love and be loved. Learn the unexpected magic of how things get better with age. There is this sense that this initiatory period, Aries, that you are going to become very energetically aware of during this Mercury in retrograde, you will emerge from it wiser. And sometimes we equate getting older with being wiser. And in this case, that goddess of fire is this grandmother stirring the cauldron. Everything that is being prepared in that cauldron will ultimately have purpose and power, right, Aries? So this is what you are being shown. Let's go to some T cards. You've got the bear. Again, there's the symbol of the bear is coming out in two different decks. It says here with the T card that the bear is saying to look at money matters right now. This may be the place where you're being pointed to right now to slow down. Don't jump into a lot of investments right now during this period, especially. Conserve your money. Take some time to really reflect on wise spending. You also have bad energy, which is saying to take care. Enemies might be working against you. This, I'm kind of getting here, Aries, that this is more about being careful about who you share your ideas with right now, or who you even share your resources with right now. Be very prudent. Someone, and I'm just kind of getting this intuitively, Spirit is saying someone may want to borrow money from you, but this person you know does not have a good track record with paying you back. The last card is the basket, recognition, reward for merits. There is going to be some sort of great outcome if you can hold steady, Aries, and not be too impulsive during this time. Trust your process and trust the process I'm hearing from Spirit that Spirit has put you into. Trust this process. Trust yourself and your wisdom. Your own divine inner wisdom is going to hold you during this period, Aries. So, again, be prudent with your spending, especially when it comes to loaning money to someone who you already know is unreliable. So, know that all the choices that are out there for you will come into clarity at the end of this retrograde period. And then you'll be ready to take decisive action. Okay, Aries, this is your reading. Take care. Hello, Taurus. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th through January 1st. So, Taurus, this Mercury in retrograde may be asking you to reconsider some beliefs that are coming up for you. Maybe beliefs that you've long held as your truth, they may be up for you to re-examine some of those things and be more curious about your process, curious about how you've come to believe the things that you've come to believe in. The Three of Fire shows up at the bottom of the deck first when I pull your tarot cards. And that Three of Fire is saying, okay, am I going to take direct action on something I believe, or am I going to allow myself to be patient and see what is coming forward? What can I observe? What can I be curious about in this Mercury in retrograde period? Let's turn over the rest of your cards. You have the Ace of Waters, Ace of Cups. You have the Four of Swords. And you have Messenger of Water, Page of Cups. I'm seeing right here that it may be interesting for you during this Mercury in retrograde period, Taurus, to get more information. I'm hearing from Spirit right now that something that you may have always thought about a person to be true, you're going to reflect on it and you're going to realize that that information came from someone that you may no longer have confidence in, which is going to change your viewpoints on some information you received from that person about someone else. Basically, you may have heard some gossip that may have tainted your viewpoint on someone, and you're going to realize the source of that gossip is now unreliable. And there's a situation in which you are going to maybe be in contact with this person that you've heard a narrative about, and you will receive either new information or you will form new thoughts about this person. Could be a person, could be a situation. Something that you had already kind of made up your mind about will now be up for reconsideration. Let's pick your tea leaf cards. An older man. This could be about an older man, or it could be the older man who gave you some gossip around or information about something, or this information or gossip could deal with an older man. I think that Spirit is going to guide you to be a little bit more lighthearted during this time. There's something that would have put you in a more serious mode if you would have continued to think what you thought about this person. But Spirit is saying, for instance, I'm seeing maybe you wasn't going to think that some holiday celebration would be the best place for you to go to because you had some thoughts about this person. But you're going to find that you end up having a really good time at this holiday gathering, and that because you're allowing for yourself to just observe this person and not have some preconceived notions about who they are. And again, take it where it resonates. It might be a person, it might be a situation, but you're going to find yourself surprisingly having a better experience than you thought you would have. Yeah, Spirit is advising you here, Taurus, that if indeed you felt like you were misinformed, now would be the time to rectify why that was, like to change course, to give this person a chance maybe. Spirit is saying to take one more card. Yeah, success is assured. You have the egg here. Success is assured with good plans and hard work. There is something about allowing for yourself to form your own opinion, to do the work yourself, to to make your own judgment about a situation or person, and you're going to see success come that way as a result. So that is your Mercury in retrograde reading for this December 13th through January 1st, 2024. Take care, Taurus. Hello, Gemini. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 through January 1st, 2024. So, Gemini, a little research I did on this Mercury in retrograde for you has pointed out that you may need to look at what is influencing your finances during this period. Something is coming up for you in terms of reevaluating how you've been spending your money right now. It may even be reevaluating where you've been putting your money, investing your money at this time. It may even have to do with how you are looking at paying off debts, or maybe looking at a plan to pay off debts. You know, basically being more financially responsible. At the bottom of the deck of the tarot cards, we have the Ace of Waters. I think that there is some new emotions that you're going to be dealing with around your finances. Maybe in the recent past, you had some fear, some shame around certain debts that you might have. But I'm being told that during this period, you are being asked to look in those fears in context to the kind of decisions you make regarding your debt. Let's go to the rest of your tarot cards and flip them over. You have Craftsman of Fire. You have the Wheel of Life. And you have the Ten of Fire. Yeah, so during this Mercury retrograde, Gemini, I think you're going to look at the work you're doing. It may be that you're looking at your career, but you're also looking at the kind of compensation you're getting for the work you're doing. For some of you, you're going to start to equate the time and the money factor. You're going to be looking at how much time am I investing in this work, and is it paying me in balance with the investment that I've been doing? There's something there about you coming full circle on the idea of where is it that you're putting your efforts, especially when it comes to making money. Are you hanging on to a job that doesn't really have development prospects? That might be coming up for some of you. Are you looking to make lateral moves, or even change your title to see if that gives you opportunity to increase your salary or increase the opportunities to make a better salary? There's some kind of action at the end of the retrograde that you'll be ready to take once you've done a full evaluation of your situation, without fear, without shame. That's what Spirit is reminding you. Let's go to the tea leaves. You have Weeping Willow. There may be some family. I'm hearing from Spirit, some of your fear and some of your shame is the result of a family pattern, maybe a family's lifelong behavioral pattern of feeling of fear around being impoverished, or something that your family does, they passed on to you in terms of how you relate to finances. You have the barrel here. It says you feel something is lacking in your life, perhaps love, money, or goals. And again, Spirit is saying that look at that lack. Look at the fear of lack. Is that's what driving, I'm sorry, let me get the channel right. Is that the fear that's driving you to make some changes? Is that fear factual? That's what Spirit is saying. And lastly, bag, something important such as a new job or a raise. So we can't deny it, Gemini. Spirit is talking about when you get very clear on the things that you fear or have some shame around and see if they really truly align with what's happening in your life, then you can make decisive changes that are going to benefit you, Gemini. After this Mercury goes direct, you are going to see the pathway to either a new job, a raise, or some kind of better positioning with your finances. So this is your reading for Mercury in retrograde, Gemini. Take care. Hello, Cancer. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 through January 1st, 2024. Cancer, the research I did around the Mercury in retrograde in your astrological chart is pointing to a period where you may want to be more cautious about your communications with others in regards to your relationships with others. It could be a romantic relationship, but it could be other relationships where people might misinterpret your words or your intentions during this time, causing some friction. When I look at the bottom of the deck of your tarot cards, Cancer, I think that there is a lot of energy that you're putting in terms of maybe giving some rebirthing energy to your relationships, wanting to seek out new friendships, seeking out more meaningful partnerships, whether that's romantic or business or with friends. I think that you're in an energy now where you want to deepen relationships, be more vulnerable in other cases, or you might just want to seek out new relationships in general. And it's during this time that Spirit is saying, be very clear around your intentions right now. If you are being vulnerable with someone else, make sure it's not in a sense to trauma bond or to share things that don't really have intention behind them in terms of deepening relationships. And let's go to your tarot cards. You have the 13 Shaman. You have 6 of water, 6 of cups. And you have the Goddess of Air. So Cancer, this Shaman card and coming right next to that 6 of Cups, we're looking at how do you communicate the intention of sacredness around your relationships? Where is it that you can even listen to Spirit's voice, or I'm hearing your divine inner wisdom when it comes to your relationships, whether you're cultivating new ones or strengthening the current ones that are in your realm? Because Spirit is saying here with that Goddess of Air being the last card, is that communication of just what people mean to you in your life. Where do you want these relationships to go? What intention is it that you are exercising when you communicate certain things? It's saying to make sure that people know their value in your life and that they aren't just expendable, and that maybe your intentions really are grounded in a deep need to have people participating in a meaningful way in a rebirth of your life. Some of you, I'm getting, are engaging in new ways of relating to yourself. And I think, honestly, you want relationships that are going to support this new healing perhaps path that you've been on, or just this rebirth in general that you feel is a part of your life. You want to make sure that your relationships support that move. Let's go to your tea leaves. You have wedge here. Someone is trying to come between you and a friend or something you want. I think Spirit is saying here again that you want to be super intentional about who you're letting into your life right now. Do they fit with the new path that you're on, where you're going? Yeah, you have the wall here. It says a misunderstanding. Someone perhaps that you already have figured out is not quite the right fit for you or not really aligned with you. They are now under the impression that you want to grow the relationship, and there may be something Spirit is saying during this Mercury in retrograde that you're miscommunicating about your intentions, or someone may misunderstand even the nature of the relationship that you want with them. Take it where it resonates. The axe is saying forces are working against you. There may be, Cancer, something that you need to straighten out when it comes to some relationships, especially if they have never been clear in the past. There's something here that you will probably need to have some honest communication about in terms of your relationships with either one or more persons, especially in how it relates to how you'll be moving forward in your life and the things and the goals that you'll be focusing on. So that is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th through January 1st, 2024. Take care, Cancer. Hello, Leo. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 through January 1st, 2024. So, Leo, when I did some initial research about your astrology during this Mercury in retrograde, it said that you will be in your 6th house during this time, which is your house of productivity and routines. The suggestion here is that you may be wanting to look at your daily responsibilities, especially when it comes to habits around your self-care and your wellness. And you may be looking at these routines in terms of new perspectives on how you can approach your daily life. Maybe some of you have been feeling very busy lately. And this Mercury in retrograde is going to allow you to observe what would be some better routines for yourself, especially when it comes to slowing down your process and really tuning in to your own divine inner wisdom, Leo. So your tarot cards, at the bottom of the deck, we have 6 of air, which is 6 of swords. This may be about something that you're wanting to leave behind. During this time, Leo, there may be a way of life that has run its course for you, especially if it means that you are doing a lot, you don't have a work-life balance that has really torn to your life, like a work schedule that feels like it doesn't allow for you to rest, or it doesn't allow for you to spend time with the people you love. Leo, there's something about you re-examining the hamster wheel of your work. It could be the hamster wheel of your career. Let's go into your tarot. So you have the Moon card. You have the 9 of fire, which is 9 of wands. And you also have the healing card. Yeah, what I see here, Leo, is that during this retrograde, I think that This is an interesting moon card because it shows the two wolves together facing each other. There's two aspects of yourself. One that has a lot of ambition, right? And then the other that wants to dive maybe even deeper into their own consciousness, into their own process. And there's a way in which you may be feeling that there's a mysterious bridge there. You can't find a way to bridge those two aspects of your life. There may have been a sense that if you focus on one, the other will suffer. And this Nine of Wands, it's bringing you back in memory, which is that Mercury in retrograde, of a time where you didn't balance your life very well, that there was fallout from either working way too much or relaxing way too much and not focusing on your work. So there's a sense right now that you want to get that balance right, that is what will allow you to heal from the past, not operate in fear, not I'm kind of getting the sense that there's always this fear that you're going to put too much time into one and miss out on another. So there's some healing that can take place there. Let's go to your tea leaf cards. You have Arrow. You are on the right path regarding some aspects of your life. So Spirit is saying that it agrees that you should focus on balance right now. That is going to bring you into a place of healing. Maybe for some of you, the stresses around this has caused you to have some physical symptoms. And Spirit is saying, yes, balancing your life is going to relieve some of those symptoms. Vulture, depression, anxiety, worry that someone is against you. I get with this card, Leo, that again, there's depression and anxiety because you're just not sure where to place your focus always, and trying to keep that balanced will alleviate some of that anxiety, some of that depression. Of course, this isn't a medical reading, so do what you can to get the professional advice that you need. But what I'm seeing here is that if you seek out balance and you seek out taking care of yourself during this Mercury retrograde and figure out ways that you can stay in the middle path of your life, you are going to find some relief from some of your symptoms. The month November is coming up here. Spirit is saying intuitively that November there's something that Spirit is pointing to that happened in November. There's something that showed you where you kind of got off balance if you were seeking balance before. Something about November, could have been around the holidays, that really took you off balance. That's just one example, but November is important to this process during your Mercury in retrograde, Leo. So that is your reading for your Mercury in retrograde, December 13th through January 1st, 2024, Leo. Take care. Hello, Virgo. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 through January 1st, 2024. So in my initial research for your sign during this Mercury in retrograde, Virgo, you are being advised to be very aware of your communication during this time. There may be some ideas that you are trying to bring forward in a relationship that need to be explored a little bit further. Maybe ideas that haven't been put into practice yet, maybe even boundaries that haven't been put into practice yet, that can make lines of the emotional lines kind of mix with miscommunication. That's kind of what I'm hearing. At the bottom of your tarot deck, there's the Ace of Air, which is the Ace of Swords. So there is something about speaking your truth during this time, even new thoughts that you're having about your relationships. But there's something there too about being more clear during this time. Let's see what the rest of your tarot cards are saying. Yeah, you have the Zero, which is the Pilgrim or the Fool. You have the Four of Cups. And you have 21, Council of All Beings. Very interesting, Virgo. There is something new around how you want to relate in a relationship with someone. This could be romantic, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. But what it is kind of pointing to is that you want to create a new way of being in relationships, but I also am hearing from Spirit that needs to be communicated more clearly during this time. There's a way in which you're going to offer up something emotionally that might be turned down because there's a misunderstanding around the boundaries that need to be in place for the other person, or some kind of emotional care needs to be implemented. Especially when we come to the Council of All Beings, there's a sense of like wanting really true, authentic relationships that feel wholesome, that feel like they include all aspects of your life. When we look at that Council of Beings, it's about a wholeness, about a symmetry between all beings, all energies of the earth. And I think we are looking, if we look within you, Virgo, there's a sense of you wanting all aspects of your life to operate in symmetry. I'm seeing, in sync. But it's going to take some work, some building of boundaries, some communication of those boundaries. Let's get to your tea leaves. In October, there may have been something that signaled to you that you could have better boundaries, that something wasn't said that might have need to have been said, Virgo. Archway. New opportunities, possibilities, and paths are open up. Yeah, I think, Virgo, you are starting to see new ways that you can relate to people. Maybe you're learning new skills around boundaries, and it's going to take a little bit of a bridge here. Bowl is coming up, plenty of material things. So this may even revolve, Virgo, around something material that maybe there needs to be some clarity around. Something maybe you received from someone or that what you gave to someone. There's something there that could have been clarified. So that is your reading for this Mercury in retrograde, Virgo, for December 13th through January 1st, 2024. Take care, Virgo. Hello, Libra. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 through January 1st, 2024. So, Libra, in my initial research around your astrology chart during this time, Mercury in retrograde is going to bring about some significant discussions with either family members or people that you're living with around your living situation. Maybe for some of you, you've been thinking about moving, but you are being advised during this time to take into consideration all of what that would entail, and if there are any responsibilities that need to be taken care of before that time, or as a result of deciding to move, that you're taking that into consideration. At the bottom of the tarot deck, you have the Ace of Fire, which is the Ace of Wands. And so Spirit is pointing out here that you are on the verge of making or taking some action in regards to your domestic life. And so that action That new action, it's most likely what is going to come forward if you are thinking of a new living situation. I'm going to turn over the rest of your tarot cards. You have initiation. You have the Two of Earth. And you have Six of Water here. Your cards are a little similar, I think, to Aries. If you have prominent Aries in your top three, you might want to listen to the Aries reading as well. So Libra, I think it's in your nature to want to balance out the situation, to look at the pros and cons of maybe changing something around your domestic life. But I think also it's being pointed out here that you want a situation that's much more conducive to your growth, conducive to the things that you are incubating right now. I'm taking this Two of Earth as you are incubating something. You're wanting to see something grow, and you want the right environment for that growth. This is very specific, but some of you may be pregnant or expecting a child, and you may want a different living situation for when that child is finally born. There's a sense here with the Six of Cups that there's a need to make sure that while you're being generous in some aspects of your life, that you have enough for yourself, that there is enough resources for the things that are coming up for you, Libra. Let's look at your T cards. Bow. You are highly thought of. I think that many people really love your generosity when it comes to making this change, and maybe that is something that you don't want for people to change their mind on, Libra. You have Apple. Temptation will test you. I'm really hearing from Spirit right now that if some of you are looking for a new place to live, and there are like roommate situations or situations where you're kind of sharing finances right now, you may find a situation fairly quickly that is really going to tempt you. Like it feels like the right situation, but it may come at the cost of like making some very quick moves. So that's just something to be aware of, Libra. Ant is your last card. Work, achievement, success. There's something here about just also taking into consideration your work. Maybe for some of you, I'm hearing it could be your commuting. So Libra, I think you're also being advised to look at all the smaller details that if you rush into making a decision during this Mercury in retrograde, you may not cover all of your bases or get all the details right during this time. So Spirit's just advising you to take it a little bit slower, to look at all of your responsibilities when it comes to making any changes with your domestic life. Okay, Libra, this is your reading for the Mercury in retrograde, December 13th through January 1st, 2024. Take care. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th through January 1st, 2024. So, Scorpio, when I did the initial research about how this Mercury in retrograde may be impacting your chart, it was suggested that during this Mercury in retrograde, you're really going to be seeking out mental stimulation. You want to be part of new conversations. You want to have your thoughts maybe expand or be challenged around certain topics. I'm getting for some of you, this could even be just the way you're living, or maybe even around politics or things that are happening globally. The bottom of the deck in the tarot is presenting as Nine of Fire, which is Nine of Wands here. I think you have some thoughts on your mind about how you're living materially, Is it in alignment perhaps with the way that you're looking at your politics or how you want to support the world? You may be looking at just different perspectives during this time, Scorpio. You have the Council of All Beings for the rest of your tarot cards, Seven of Water, which is Seven of Cups, and Three of Fire, which is Three of Wands. Yeah, what this Mercury in retrograde might be doing for you, Scorpio, is reevaluating how you navigate the world, how you show up in the world. Is it aligned with your identity? Are there some things you need to change? And you may be relying on the wisdom of others to either inspire you or to really help you take a second guess or a second look at some of the things that you do just in the ordinary course of living your life. There are a lot of ways to show up in the world. And that Seven of Cups is really pointing out that there's so many different philosophies in life, different ways of living. And that Three of Wands is going to have you taking a more expansive look at your world and deciding what would be right for you, Scorpio. What would help you feel as if you're aligned, mind, body, and spirit, with how you're living and how you're showing up in the world. Let's go to your tea leaves. We have bouquet, compliments from an admirer. So there may be someone that you engage in a conversation with during this Mercury in retrograde that's someone who may compliment you about just kind of this journey that you're taking to look at your life, to make some changes. Boot, increase your efforts if you want to achieve your goals. Yeah, there's going to be something around this time that's helping you align all of your thoughts and your actions so that they better suit the goals that you have in life, Scorpio. Angel, spiritual guidance, protection from harm. I think this angel is really speaking, Scorpio, to tapping into your own divine inner wisdom eventually, even though you may have conversations with others about how they're doing things, how they see the world. Eventually, you're being directed to go within, to tap into your spirit guides, perhaps even your ancestors, and see if that wisdom ultimately will be the wisdom that aligns with your heart, Scorpio. Okay, this is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 through January 1st, 2024. Thank you so much, Scorpio. Hello, Sagittarius. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 to January 1st, 2024. So Sagittarius, when I did the initial research on how this Mercury in retrograde is impacting your chart, your second house is going to experience some focusing around your finances. And you may want to, during this time, really look at your spending habits, even your financial goals for the upcoming year. And you may even want to consider being more conservative around this time and tighten up on those habits. The bottom of the deck for the tarot is showing Seven of Wands. I think what's important here to understand is that you want to look at impulsive buys, things that you don't necessarily need, but things that impulsively connect to your emotions. It's kind of like I'm sensing from spirit emotional buying that tugs at certain strings. Maybe, this is just an example, but someone wants to appear like they have it all together, and so they may want a car that's more expensive than a car that wouldn't really give that same impression. I mean, it's not saying that you're doing this, but it's just an example of how it correlates with the emotion of feeling like the way I'm being perceived is not successful enough. So those buys kind of seek to, I don't know, satiate some of that feeling of insecurity or inadequacy. But let's go to the other tarot. You have the World card. You have Four of Fire, which is Four of Wands. And you have the Ace of Fire, which is the Ace of Wands. Again, this World card is pointing to the fact that in some ways you're leaving behind a world that may have judged you superficially. And while you want to leave that behind and be judged more on your character and more on your skills and your value, there's still, because this character in the World card is carrying a backpack, that kind of symbolizes to me that there's still some behaviors that you may be carrying around from that old world that need to be set down, that need to be released. So Spirit is saying here with the Four of Wands that you will find a better community, better friendships, better relationships that value you and what you can bring, the beauty that you can bring to the community, the growth that you can bring to the community. And this will be happening soon with this Ace of Fire. You know, it is happening soon. But let's take a look at your tea leaves. You have Inkpot, problems to be resolved. So again, I think what Spirit is wanting to point out here that before things become a problem, like before you accumulate bills that you are going to find a challenge to pay, take a look at it now. Be more conservative. Start to save. There may be an unexpected expense that comes up that really tilts you into an unfavorable place when it comes to your finances. Boat, you have money or property through an inheritance, winning, or windfall. I think here too, Spirit is saying, and this might be specific, that if you receive a large sum of money, to be more prudent with it and then to think, oh, I have all this money now, let me go spend it. Spirit is saying from the very beginning, come up with a plan to budget that money or invest it in a way that it can grow. And lastly, you have Horseshoe, good luck. I mean, some of you, I know this sounds random, might win the lottery. It may not be like a huge win, but it might be enough for you to think, gosh, I want to splurge. But Spirit is really advising you during this Mercury in retrograde, any money that you get, whether you get it from a family member, whether you get it from winnings or some other grant, make sure that you're prudent in how you're spending this money and making sure that you're keeping some aside for unexpected events. So this is your Mercury in retrograde reading, Sagittarius, for December 13th, 2023 to January 1st, 2024. Thanks so much. Hello, Capricorn. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 through January 1st, 2024. So when I did your initial research, Capricorn, for how this Mercury in retrograde may be impacting your astrology, what came forward was that during this time, you are going to be experimenting with a few different ways of expressing yourself, especially through communication. Some of you may be feeling as if you've got to put out there more about yourself. It could be about the work you do, about some of the accolades you've achieved, or it may be that you need to share some of your goals with others. And in this way, I think you're going to be understanding that people can only support you if you reveal to them how they can be of a support. and you're going to be making some progress with this that's will impact future endeavors, future projects that you might be working on, Capricorn. At the bottom of the deck of the tarot, you have the Four of Fire, which is Four of Wands. And this is a way in which community is coming forward in a very active way. People are wanting to assist you, or Spirit is saying that people are in a position to assist you. And this could be of a huge benefit to you, but you are going to need to communicate your needs, Capricorn. The rest of the tarot, we have Two of Air, which is Two of Swords. We have Three of Water, which is Three of Cups. And we have the Ace of Earth, which is the Ace of Wands. Yeah, it's very clear here, Capricorn, that if you can allow yourself to be more vulnerable with your communication, maybe to be more forthright, you are going to find that there is a group of people who really adore you, who really respect your work. I'm getting that they really could be close friends even. Perhaps you're looking for a job or a new position. And while you may resort to looking in different online directories for jobs, Spirit is saying here that there are people right in your community, friends even, who have entree into information on new jobs, who might even be able to get you an interview. So that's very specific, but that is what Spirit is pointing out here, that in a way, when you're going outside of your community to try to achieve goals, you may be wasting your time because your community has that information, has that gift for you. And that's what this Ace of Wands is talking about, right? Which is that if you take on this new perspective that the community is there to help you achieve your goals instead of you having to show up as already successful, you will see that many more doors open for you, Capricorn. Let's go to your tea leaves. You have bird perch, waiting for news, package, or letter. Again, Spirit is pointing out here that perhaps a place where you did apply for a job or some kind of news that you're waiting for, whether it's from an organization or for an application somewhere, you have a friend or you have a contact that can help you find out the status of that application, the status of that interview. So Spirit is saying here to open yourself up to doing further inquiry around your community, especially when it comes to things, goals that you have. Bird flying, news is on the way. Yeah, Spirit is saying here that if you allow for yourself to admit to friends that you'd like some assistance, you're going to experience the news right away. It's kind of that wand energy that's coming up again here, that Four of Wands, like your community is going to be hot on it. I think people are going to be actually very pleased that you finally asked them for help. Your last card is Bell, announcement. So really, Spirit keeps confirming over and over again, Capricorn, that during this Mercury retrograde period, you are going to find out some news, and that might be through the assistance of others, especially people you know. So Capricorn, this is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 through January 1st, 2024. Thanks so much. Hello, Aquarius. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 through January 1st, 2024. Aquarius, my initial research into how this Mercury in retrograde may be impacting your astrological chart, it was pointing your attention to maybe how you communicate with yourself. Maybe even if how you work with your inner critic. During this time, you might want to focus on negative self-talk and how to transition that to a more positive or more effective self-talk. At the bottom of the tarot deck, you have the Four of Air, which is Four of Swords. So, Aquarius is kind of interesting here because this is a card of deep contemplation sometimes, or it could be ruminating thoughts. So during this Mercury in retrograde, Aquarius, you're really wanting to pay attention to the mind and becoming more disciplined with how you interact with your own inner critic. Let's go to the rest of the tarot. You have Two of Earth, which is Two of Wands. You have Ace of Earth, which is the Ace of Wands. And you have the Seven of Air, which is the Seven of Swords. Immediately what I see, Aquarius, as that without slowing down your thought process, without really starting to fact check that inner critic, there's a way in which you can just begin to cheat yourself out of better outcomes. So this Mercury in retrograde, it's about communication, but communication with yourself. And how can you create more constructiveness around your mindset? How can you begin to implement more positive self-talk when it comes to communicating with yourself, Aquarius? Let's go to your tea leaves. You have Beetle, good fortune. You have the Rose, romance is in the air. And you have Rooster, an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. So, Aquarius, if this is coming down to some kind of romantic interaction, maybe even a crush, Spirit is wanting you to look at that voice inside of you that may be saying you don't have a chance, you're not good enough for this person would never give you a chance. All of that kind of negative self-talk is really keeping you away from perhaps a very successful interaction, or at least it's preventing you from making that first step or that first move, or thinking that there's even any possibility in having a relationship with someone. So Spirit is saying here, pay attention to that inner voice and try to work on it so that you lower the volume of that inner critic and you raise the volume on that positive voice of wisdom inside of you. Okay, Aquarius, I hope that you resonate with this Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th through January 1st, 2024. Thanks so much. Hello, Pisces. Welcome to your Mercury in retrograde reading for December 13th, 2023 to January 1st, 2024. So Pisces, when I did the initial research for how this Mercury in retrograde may impact your astrology, there was a observation from Spirit that you will be or may need to reevaluate or reassess some of your friendships and social circles. I think during this Mercury in retrograde, you are going to be looking at the sustainability of your connections. You're going to be looking at who's in your inner circle and see if you can come up with clarity during this time, especially when it comes to who can nurture you, who can support your growth. So at the bottom of the deck of the tarot, Pisces, you get Wisdom Keeper. And this is really the embodiment of your wisest self. This is the self that is the medicine for your soul. This is your wise medicine person that's coming through. And it's interesting because on this card, the medicine person has a dog in front of them. And the dog tends to represent loyalty. So Pisces, Spirit is pointing out that there needs to be a deep loyalty to yourself first before you can probably ask of it of others. So making sure that when you are around others, you're treating yourself with the utmost respect. You're not self-deprecating or saying negative things about yourself, because in a way that teaches others how to treat you, Pisces. And that's what's coming up through what Spirit is saying right now. The rest of your tarot cards, you have Three of Air, Three of Swords. You have the Ace of Air, which is the Ace of Swords. And you have the Nine of Air, which is the Nine of Swords. Again, a lot of this is about your own mental talk, your own sense of like, are you staying true and authentic to yourself, Pisces? And how, when you do that, when you allow yourself to demonstrate the utmost loyalty to yourself, it turns over a I'm hearing this expression, it turns over a new leaf in terms of how people know how to treat you after that, right? They know that not only do you value yourself, that they need to treat you with that same value that you have for yourself. So in a way, this is an upgrade. This Mercury in retrograde is asking you to get those friendships and support circles around you that can really step in alignment with how you view and care for yourself, Pisces. Hello, Pisces. We didn't do your tea leaf cards for your reading, so I wanted to get those in as well. You have Ring, a marriage will take place, either romantic or business. You have Feather, someone you know is undependable and insincere. And you have Fan, romance, celebration, party. So Pisces, what's important here, and I think it aligns with the rest of your reading, is that people will treat you the way that you treat yourself. And I think that with the Ring, Spirit is pointing out that any new union, whether it's an intimate romantic union or a business union, make sure that people know that you value yourself. And it doesn't have to mean that you're directly telling them that. Show them with your actions that you really care about yourself and that you're confident in what you're putting forward. Because this will immediately, with the Feather, saying someone might be insincere or undependable, this will immediately have people self-eliminate when it comes to not being able to hold that value that you hold in yourself. So that is why it's important, so that you don't get caught up in doing business or being in a relationship with someone who doesn't care about you or doesn't have the skills to do that. And lastly, when you do that, especially when it comes to relationships, new relationships, romantic ones, or just forming new community, you are going to find that showing up as your most true, authentic self is going to give you those true, authentic relationships. So sorry about leaving this portion off of your other part, Pisces, but I hope you get this message. Thanks so much. This is your Mercury in retrograde reading.